president. And I was even prouder when we stood shoulder to shoulder to deliver Wisconsin for him in 2008. And we're going to do it again in 2012. Now we all know that we supported President Obama, and we knew he was coming into office facing the worst economic conditions that this country has seen since the Great Depression. But with his leadership, this country has added jobs for 30 consecutive months. With his leadership, 4.6 million jobs have been created. Now we know there's more work to be done. We know there's more work to be done, and he is committed to do everything he can to grow the middle class and those who want to be part of the middle class in America. And that's why we support him for re-election. But elections are always about choices, and we have a choice in 2012. We know what happened. We know that the Republicans took the economy and they drove it into the ditch. They drove it into the ditch in 2007 and 2008. Barack Obama has gotten that car out of the ditch, and now the Republicans want those keys back, and we're not going to give them to them. But we have a lot of work to do over the next 45 or 46 days. Are you going to do everything you can to make sure that Tammy Baldwin is elected to the U.S. Senate? And we need you to get your friends, your neighbors, everyone you can out to vote. They have shortened the early voting period, so we have to work even harder. We have to work harder to get people out to vote early. We have to make sure that every friend, every relative, the disabled, the elderly, those without cars, we get them to the polls. We have to do this because the future of this country has to be in the hands of Barack Obama. So I want to hear you say it. Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? All right, Milwaukee. All right, Wisconsin. Let's win this one for our children, our grandchildren, and Barack Obama. Let's go.
I know you're all here to see and listen to a great president. I feel your energy and I feel your excitement. It feels a lot where I was just a week ago in Charlotte at our great convention. There were so many great speakers. Now, wasn't Michelle Obama great? That's why they call her the First Lady. She blew everybody else away. And we heard from President Clinton, who was always like great, and he reminded us that math doesn't need to be fuzzy, it just needs to add up.
That's the one. Yeah.
We had two of our own great ladies from Wisconsin taking center stage. Two strong, smart, outstanding women. Congressman Gwen Moore was there and she did us all proud, as she does always. And then the nation got to meet someone who was rallying her way to the United States Senate, the person who is going to succeed me, and she will be nobody's senator but yours. Now in Charlotte, just like today, everybody couldn't wait to hear from our president, a truly gifted speaker and our commander-in-chief. He's also a husband, a father, and someone who's concerned about all Americans. So, I don't want to stand in his way, but before I go, I want to thank you for how good you've been to me for the past 24 years.
Channel 2 is ads.
I'm asking you, each and every one of you, to do everything you can, to dig as deep as you can, talk to as many people as you can, knock on as many doors as you can, make as many calls as you can, to be sure that we elect Amy Baldwin, President Obama on November 6th. For me and for our country. Thank you for being here. God bless you. God bless our state. And God bless the United States of America.
President of the United States at Summerfest. And this week we got the clearest look yet of what that means in this election. President Obama is fighting for all Americans. Writes off half the nation. President Obama believes in the values that we teach our children here in Wisconsin, that we're at our best when we believe in the best in each other. But Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, and Tommy Thompson, they believe that we're at our best when we believe in the worst in each other. Now, as the president said, there are times when politics can seem small, but there is no choice bigger than the one we're facing over the next 45 days. their fair share. That's why I was proud to work with the President to introduce the buffer rule to make sure that millionaires and billionaires don't get to pay a lower tax rate than hard-working, middle-class Wisconsinites. But our opponents, they only want to pass more tax cuts for those at the very top. The Wisconsin I know knows that their plan will only bust our budget, not boost our economy. Now, the President and I believe in a level playing field for small businesses, workers, and manufacturers. And after risky schemes brought our economy to its knees, we fought to make Wall Street play by the same rules as Main Street. That's because we know that the best way to build our economy is from the middle class out, not from the top down. And we know that having two sets of rules makes no kind of sense. And we believe in hard work and giving our workers a fair shot because we can compete against anyone. That's why we're cracking down on unfair competition from China and betting on Wisconsin's workers. President Obama believes in our manufacturers and shares the pride when we say these words, "Made in America." But our opponents, I'm beginning to think that the only time they've been standing on a factory floor talking to workers is when they're making another misleading television ad. As for Mitt Romney, he's never stood up to China. Instead, he's profited from sending our jobs there. You know, he was a corporate buyout specialist, and he invested in firms that specialized in shipping their jobs overseas. And part of his vast fortune is still invested in Chinese companies. No wonder he's got so much to hide in his tax returns. So, we've seen how the politics of division only holds us back. And that's why Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, Tommy Thompson, that's what they're selling us, the politics of division. But most of all, we believe that America only moves in one direction. Our state motto, forward. So knock on some doors, make those phone calls, go to BarackObama.com and TammyBaldwin.com, register to vote. Please vote early so you can help other people get to the polls on Election Day. And come October and November, the Wisconsin I know, the America I love, will keep us moving forward. Forward! Forward with a strong middle class, forward on a path to prosperity, and forward with President Barack Obama.
welcome the President of the United States, Barack Obama. The closest I've been to home in a couple of months. I was thinking about hopping on the freeway and just driving on down. Hour and a half, maybe a little shorter with the motorcade. I am also glad to be in Milwaukee because before I came out here, I was able to have an outstanding sampling of bratwurst. I'm also glad to be here because I get to see some great friends like Mayor Tom Barrett, who's in the house. Your outstanding Senator Herb Cole. Your next United States Senator, Tammy Baldwin. And just to prove that I am determined to bring everyone together in moving this country forward, I am proud to have a couple of Green Bay Packers in the house. Dr. Michael Finley. We got Desmond Bishop. And they were pointing out the results of the most recent Bears-Packers game. All I could say to them is it's a long season. We're going to play a couple more times. But we're so glad that they are here, and it just goes to show you we are not as divided as some people think. We are not Bears fans first or Packers fans first. We are Americans first. Television is busted. You probably know that we got an election going on. I was telling folks about a story recently I heard. My campaign manager was talking to this couple. They had this 4-year-old with them, and they saw a picture of me, and the parents said, who's that, Sammy? And the little boy says, that's Barack Obama. And then they asked, what does Barack Obama do? And he thinks for a second, he says, he approves that message. So that's what I do. I approve this message. And
because, you know, when you heard Mark up here talking, and give Mark a big round of applause for the great job he's doing. What you heard from Mark is that we've got a very big choice to make in this election. And it's not just between two candidates or two parties. It's a choice between two different paths for America. Two different visions for our future. Now my opponent, he believes in top-down economics. Don't move, vote. But he thinks that if we just spend another $5 trillion on tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans, all our problems are going to go away. Jobs and prosperity will rain down on everybody. Deficits will magically disappear. It'll all end happily ever after. But there's a problem with that. We tried what they're selling. We tried it for a decade. It didn't work then, and it won't work now. You know, this country does not succeed when only a very few do well. America succeeds when working families do well, when middle class folks do well, when folks working hard to get into the middle class do well, when everybody's got a chance to get ahead. That's when we do well. We can't move forward if we got leaders who write off half the nation, call them a bunch of victims who will never take responsibility for their lives. I don't see a lot of victims here today. I see hard-working Wisconsinites. I see students trying to work their way through college. I see single moms putting in overtime to make sure their kids have a shot. I see senior citizens who've been saving their entire lives for their retirement. I see veterans who have served our country bravely. I see soldiers who defend our freedom today. You know, Milwaukee, we don't believe anybody's entitled to success. We don't believe government should help folks who don't try to help themselves. But we do believe in something called opportunity. We believe that in this country, hard work should pay off. And everybody should get a fair shot. And everybody should do their fair share. And everybody should play by the same rules. That's the country we believe in. And that's why I'm running for a second term as president of the United States. It's going to take a few years to solve challenges that have built up over decades. But I want everybody here to understand there's no problem we cannot solve. There's no challenge we cannot meet. Because we've got the best workers in the world. We've got the best businesses in the world. We've got the best scientists and researchers in the world. We've got the best colleges and universities in the world. We've got this incredible diversity of talent. Which is why people want to come here from every corner of the globe. There's not a country on earth that wouldn't trade places with the United States. But we're going to have to work hard to achieve that potential. That's why I put forward a practical plan to create jobs and grow the middle class and rebuild this economy on a stronger foundation. It starts by exporting more products but outsourcing fewer jobs. You remember my opponent wanted to let Detroit go bankrupt. Don't move. dying auto industry, and we put it back on top of the world. So, what we did for autos, we want to do for manufacturing across the board. We've already created more than 500,000 new manufacturing jobs. So now what we have to do is to stop giving tax breaks to companies that are shipping jobs overseas. Let's give them to companies that are investing right here in Milwaukee, creating jobs right here in Wisconsin. That's how we move forward. Let's help big companies and small businesses double their exports. We can create 1 million new manufacturing jobs in the next 4 years. But it requires you to vote. It requires all of us to do our part. I want us to control our own energy. You know, after 30 years of not doing anything, we raised fuel standards so that by the middle of the next decade, your cars and trucks will go twice as far on a gallon of gas. We have doubled the amount of renewable energy we're generating. And thousands of Americans have jobs today building wind turbines, long-lasting batteries. We're less dependent on foreign oil than any time in nearly 2 decades. My opponent, he wants to let the oil companies write the energy plan. Don't move. He wants to keep giving $4 billion in corporate welfare to them from our taxpayers. We've got a better plan. We want to produce oil and natural gas, but we also want to invest in wind and solar and clean coal. We want to bring farmers and scientists together to harness new biofuels. We want to put construction workers back to work, building homes and factories that use and waste less energy. We want to develop a 100-year supply of natural gas. We want to cut our oil imports in half by 2020 and create hundreds of thousands of jobs in the process. We can do it, but I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need you to vote. I want to make sure that we've got the best education system on earth. I wouldn't be standing here unless I got a great education. It was the gateway of opportunity for me and for Michelle and for so many of you. And that's why we fought so hard to make sure that millions of students are paying less for college, because we took on a system that was wasting billions of dollars and started putting money into the students. Now, my opponent, he wants to gut our investments in education to give tax breaks to the wealthy. I've got a different vision. I believe that in the United States of America, no child should have her dream deferred because of an overcrowded classroom. No family should have to set aside a college acceptance letter because they don't have the money. No company should have to look for workers in China because they can't find the right skills here in the United States. So Wisconsin, I want you to help me recruit 100,000 new math and science teachers. Let's improve early childhood education. Let's give 2 million more workers the chance to get the skills they need at community colleges. Let's help colleges and universities keep tuition down. We can meet these goals together, but I'm going to need your help. We need to bring down our deficit, but we don't need to do it by sticking it to the middle class. I put forward a plan that reduces our deficit by $4 trillion. We've already cut $1 trillion of spending that we didn't need. And I'm willing to do more to make sure our government is efficient. We can't be wasting money. But I also want to reform our tax code so that it's simple and fair. And so it asks the wealthiest among us to pay a higher rate on incomes over $250,000. when Bill Clinton was president, and our economy created nearly 23 million new jobs. We went from deficit to surplus, and by the way, we created a whole lot of millionaires to boot. I've cut taxes for the middle class. I've cut taxes for small businesses. And I want to keep your taxes low. But I can afford to pay a little more. And Mitt Romney sure can afford to pay a little more. And the reason I want to do it is not because I want to punish success. It's when you give tax relief to middle class families, what do? When you got a lot more money in your pocket, just spend it. So maybe you trade in that old 10-year-old car. Maybe you buy a computer for your kid. And that means business has more customers, which means companies have more profits, which means then they hire more people. And then the whole economy gets stronger. We don't build the economy from the top down. We build it from the bottom up. From the middle up. That's what we're trying to do. I've got to say in fairness, Mike, I love you back. That's why I want to make sure you've got a good deficit reduction plan. Look, my opponents, they've got a plan too. The problem is, like Bill Clinton said, there's no arithmetic in it. Somehow they think that they can spend trillions of dollars more on tax cuts for the wealthy and somehow bring down our deficit. They can't say how they'll do it. They won't say how you have a $5 trillion in new tax cuts and not end up raising taxes on middle class families, or spend another $2 trillion in new military spending that our military says we don't need without asking you to foot the bill. The math just doesn't add up. And I'm going to tell you, Milwaukee, I refuse to ask middle class families to give up their deduction for owning a home or raising kids just to give more energy tax cuts. I refuse to ask college students to pay more or take children off the Head Start programs or eliminate health insurance for millions of poor, elderly, and disabled just to pay for another tax cut we can't afford. I will not turn Medicare into a voucher program. And we are not going to end up creating a social security system that is controlled by Wall Street. We are going to make sure that everybody can retire with dignity and respect. That's what we're fighting for. I know we're getting a little wet, but that's okay. I'm going to wrap it up, but I got a few more things to say. Just like we got choices here at home, we've also got some choices overseas. You know, our prosperity at home depends on our security overseas. 4 years ago, I said I would end the war in Iraq, and I did. I said we'd wind down the war in Afghanistan, and we are. A new tower is rising over the New York skyline. Al-Qaeda's on the path to defeat, and Osama bin Laden is dead. As we saw last week, still got threats out there. We saw the attack on our consulate, and we will bring those murderers to justice. And that's why, as long as I am Commander-in-Chief, we will sustain the strongest military the world has ever known. And when our troops come home, and they take off their uniform, we will serve them as well as they served us, because if you serve our military, if you protect our people, if you fought for our freedom, you shouldn't have to fight for a job when you come home. Mitt Romney, he thinks it was tragic for us to end the war in Iraq. He doesn't have a plan to end the war in Afghanistan. I have and I will. And I'll use the money we're no longer spending on war to pay down our debt and put folks back to work. After a decade of war, we need these nations over here alone. So, I know you're getting wet, but I got one more thing to say. Little rain never hurt anybody. Let me say this, you know, my promise, they will keep on, over the next 45 days, spending more money than we've ever seen before, trying to tell you that tax cuts are the only way to go. That since government can't do everything, it should do almost nothing. Their basic philosophy is you're on your own. If you can't afford health insurance, hope you don't get sick. If you can't afford to go to college, try to borrow some money from your parents. Let me tell you something, that's not who we are. I don't think government can solve all of our problems, but I don't think it's the source of all of our problems. I don't want to spend all our time blaming somebody else, blaming unions or blaming immigrants or blaming gay people or blaming some other group like that. I believe we're all in it together. I believe we've got to take responsibility for ourselves, but also look out for one another. I think we have a responsibility to create opportunity and possibility in this nation. I don't think America's just about what can be done for us, it's about what can be done by us together. As one nation, as one people. That's what our election was 4 years ago. It was about you. You were the change. All of us coming together. You're the reason there's a mother in Madison who doesn't have to worry about her son being denied medical coverage because of a pre-existing condition. You made that happen. You're the reason there's a student at Marquette or University of Wisconsin who can afford to go to college now, or a veteran on the new GI Bill. You accomplished that. You're the reason there's a family in Green Bay that got a tax cut and has no more money to buy groceries, put gas in the car and pay the bills. You're the reason that some young immigrant who grew up here and pledges allegiance to our flag won't be deported. Why an outstanding soldier can still serve in our military because it doesn't matter who they love. We even don't have no guns. Those families are welcoming home their incredible men and women who served us so bravely. You did that. I was trying to make this point the other day in Florida. I said, you can't change Washington just from the inside. I've learned that. You've got to enlist and mobilize the American people to help bring about change from the outside. stood up and he said, I'll get the job done from the inside. And that makes me want to ask, what kind of inside job is he talking about? If it's one of those inside jobs where he's rubber stamping the agenda of this Republican Congress, we don't want that. If it's the job of letting oil companies write our energy policy, or our insurance companies writing our health care policies, or our outsourcers writing tax codes, that's not the inside job we want. You know, if it's one of those inside jobs where politicians in Washington tell women that they can't make decisions about their own health care choices, we don't want that inside job from Washington. We've always said in this campaign that change takes more than one term. It takes more than one president. It takes more than one party. It can't happen if you write off half the nation. In 2008, 47% of the country didn't vote for me. But I said to those folks on election night, I said, I may not have won your vote, but I hear your voices. I will be your president too. Folks will vote for me this time around, but I can tell you, I'll be with you no matter what. I'm not fighting to create Democratic jobs or Republican jobs. I'm fighting to create American jobs. I'm not fighting to improve schools in red states or schools in blue states. I'm fighting to improve schools in the United States. Just on behalf of workers or businesses or rich or poor, the 1% or the 99%, I'm fighting for American values. They belong to all of us. And if you still believe in them, if you still have hope, if you're still ready to go, I'm asking you for your vote. If you get out there and work these last 45 days, if you're willing to make some phone calls for me, and not run for doors for me, and vote for me, we'll win Milwaukee.